Off, I want to talk a little bit more about the upload that I posted today, this morning. They were basically using the Disney offices, Lucasfilm, at Disney, because the addresses that are used for Barking Lion, which is Willow, and Acolyte is the same office that is literally the headquarters of Disney, okay, in London. And so it doesn't take a lot of imagination or, I don't know, thought to think that perhaps there was cross-pollinating going on. What I mean by that is this: you've got Willow, the budget for that at $150 million. The Caroline Raid, basically, the headline was blew up to $150 million for a streaming TV show. Okay, we don't know what the budget for Andor was. We don't know really. I mean, we've got numbers for the Acolyte, and you look on Blue Stockings filings, and you see $50 million. Where'd the money come from? And you look at $100 million for Indiana Jones, okay, and over what the budget was supposed to be. So you got to think, what is really happening with all this right now? It's really interesting to me watching all of this going on, because it doesn't take a big imagination to figure someone was doing this, right? We're taking a little bit from here, a little bit from here, a little bit from there. Give it to the Acolyte, a little bit from here, a little, you know what I'm saying? And we won't worry about the budgets of Indy. It'll always get money. Willow, and we can do Andor on the cheap too. Hi, Mad, how you doing? So I think that was part of what they did. Now, I'm not sure if anybody could like go out there and share this to X. That'd be great, because I couldn't. But the thing is that why? Hey, Odin, how you doing? Why did it happen? But then you got to think. Remember when Sparrow through Cameron said, "Here's the deal," okay? They told Kathy no, okay, and there's some really odd stuff. What I'm hoping is that this Willow issue is the appetizer for exposing the Acolyte, because this is, look, the Acolyte is where Kennedy's gonna look like an asshole. All right, look, I'm not sure if this is illegal. It looks to me like it's embezzlement, but I don't really know how film industry and the TV industry and streaming kind of oversee their budgets. But if I was Bob Iger, hey Cross, I'd be really, really pissed off about money that I said, fine, we'll green light Willow, we'll green light Andor. Indiana Jones, of course, has been green lighted. Money taken from those shows went to something that Kennedy was just strictly told not to do. And she did it anyway. Okay, here's the deal. What implications does it have on something that we haven't talked about in a long time? The Karen McCarthy lawsuit. Are you hoping, like I am, that somehow Karen's people get a hold of Ms. Reed and have her look into that? Okay, because that is where the shit will hit the fan with the acolyte. Okay, it's just obvious. Okay, there's so much there that is unexplainable. Where'd the money come from? How come the Willow budget was so high, and overblown? How come Indy blew up to $100 million over budget? Okay, how come? I know why. Money from Indiana Jones 5 was taken and given to Leslie Headland. All right, and look, there were reports of discretionary funds also being given to Headland that Kennedy had access to. Okay, and those are, oh, that's not a good thing. Those are funds that, she could do whatever she wanted with, which you can make a sizzle reel with the acolyte stuff. Okay, no problem. But as far as a full 8-episode streaming TV show that no one's gonna watch, it's gonna be very interesting as this goes on, because they didn't have enough. From what I heard from what people told me who saw the sizzle reel, which is what it was at Celebration, they said they didn't really see it. It was a sizzle reel. That's it. To me, I'm thinking that's what Headland had. Maybe there was more. Okay, and Favreau had to finish it. Okay, let's talk about Jon Favreau. Interesting that he's looking to get Sigourney Weaver to play some sort of like queen smuggler, kind of a Talon card character in Mando season, or Mando and Grogu. Okay, kind of weird, kind of cool, kind of weird. I thought he was gone. I thought Jon Favreau had left. Didn't Doomcock say he did? Of course, grain of salt, please. This, protection from making shit up. Meanwhile, we get Kathleen Kennedy at Dodger Stadium on Star Wars Day talking about how excited she is for Mando and Grogu. Not one word about the acolyte, because no one wants to touch it. And they left the comments and the dislikes up so everybody could see it. Why? Favreau and Iger want to make a point to Kennedy and that little bitch, Headland, that we didn't want this garbage. Okay, didn't want it. We don't want a Rey movie. And so this is what's going to lead me to talking about the Rey movie. First off, Inside the Magic had a thing today up there. Let me see if I can find it. Absolute dumpster fire garbage bullshit. And of course, here's the Willow budget ballooned article. Okay. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge got paid off as far as being the next Indiana Jones. She's now writing Tomb Raider. Of course, everyone's asking why is she, Now, I'm going to say this. The headline for this is definitely fuck you clickbait. Okay. Don't get upset. They're taking garbage from stuff at Galaxy's Edge and acting like it's part of the new movie plot. The guy who wrote it is named Thomas Hitchen. He has no social media. I can't find him anywhere. Maybe if someone can find it, they can post it here. First off, It's absolute. Yes, he is. That's why I'm doing this. Go to Latino Slant. He just posted a video yesterday. They were on live. Why are you asking me that? All right. So thanks for also kicking me off of my train of thought. That was nice. This is clickbait. Now, if you go on X, Star Wars Holocron, not Leland Chi, and others have been running around screaming for a Ray movie and talking about Ray this and Ray that. All right, first off, this tells me that the flying monkeys are trying to protect something that they've created. All right, this is desperation. If you notice, the chief of the flying monkeys, Pablo Hidalgo's left X. Well, not really. He's hiding behind his private account. And he privatized his public account. For what reason? He's not coming back until June or July. The second quarter was already over. We're in the middle of the third quarter, for crying out loud. That's how fast time is moving, by the way. And it just, with Kennedy not saying anything, Carrie Ann Moss is not out there doing any publicity for the acolyte. In fact, I really don't think any of the actors are. I mean, Empire Magazine, they might have talked to Amanda Stenberg and some others, but as far as I could tell, the only person that's really been doing any publicity is Leslie Forehead. Okay, and like for the new Acolyte trailer, the one they just put out, 69% dislikes, and the original trailer, 78% dislikes. Okay, and we've got, let's see, how many days till this nightmare? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 days until the Acolyte comes out. Cameron was theorizing yesterday on Latino Slant with Polly that we may be getting an announcement, a big one. A lot of movement, back and forth with Gina Carano and the lawyers. Absolute negative energy with the Filson brand suing Lucasfilm, and of course Karen McCarthy. I think if they want to bring Kennedy down, Karen McCarthy's the way to do it. That's just me. All right, that's the way I would do it. But I think we're pretty close to a resolution to at least some of this stuff. As far as I'm concerned, if they announced that Kennedy was leaving at the end of her contract this year in July, and that she was on an extended leave, it would be fine by me. When she was doing the Dodger Blue video, you can go to Dodger Blue on YouTube and click Star Wars and watch it. Okay. She doesn't mention the Ray movie, but there's a Ray movie. She doesn't mention the Acolyte because it's fraught with peril, probably illegal peril for her and literal peril from a certain 3-digit, 3-letter organization that is not the CIA, not the Mossad, and not the NKVD. Okay, not the Russians. Okay, somebody else. Okay, and we all know why. First, all right. So let's go back. Cross-pollination. They take money from Willow, and I could actually see John Kasdan drinking, wine spritzers with Leslie Headland, talking about woke shit. I mean, that's what he is. I could see him doing that. And it's very interesting to me. Hey, Mike, how you doing? That as this is going on, how you're watching how the things that Kennedy did that was on her slate was all done in England without the big bosses in Florida and Burbank being able to see what was going on. Okay, that's the big thing. Yep, I'm gonna talk about him in a bit. I'll do a tribute video, another one. So she was hiding things from from Iger and John Favreau, of course, and others, because she could not accept she was being usurped and eclipsed by a guy. If it look, the only thing that would have made it better is if a tall 6-foot blonde former supermodel had created the Mandalorian. All right, because a male-centric thing created by a woman, and it would have absolutely pissed her off. It would have slid her into a level of pissed off she'd never been in before in her life. She's already pissed off that Jon Favreau was doing this, and the fans embraced him. Meanwhile, we're all like, "Fuck off, Kathy, go away." Okay, it's time to leave. Now, the inside the Magic article, and what I hate about these things is there are people on both sides that hate the sequel trilogy that, watch Nerdrotic, watch Geeks and Gamers, watch Drunk 3PO, and the rest of them. They want to believe it. They want to believe it. It's look, if it bleeds, it leads. This is how they make money. And they're so, they are so angry and hurt and immature. They don't know what the long game is. And you can explain, and then of course you have the people who love this shit. And I think that they will go either catatonic or suicidal when they realize there's a whole new timeline where there is no Rey, there is no Kyle Ron, there is no this, there is no that, okay, that they loved. And, oh yeah, I mean, high strung, emotionally immature. Yeah, look, again, it's the lack of being able to view something objectively with critical thinking. Critical drinker calls himself a critical thinker, but he's not. And he's like almost the least loathsome of all of them. But then you've got the other ones who didn't come to Star Wars as children. Hi, Santiago. They didn't come to Star Wars until later. They already were sort of formed in their weird political viewpoint. A lot of them are women who actually believed that George was a misogynist and that there weren't enough women in Star Wars and that it had to be remade into a girls, franchise. And it's like, no. The girls who grew up with Star Wars who liked it wouldn't want it to be a girls franchise. The reason why we liked it is because it wasn't. It gave us a new kind of female heroine that wasn't helpless. Okay, but we didn't need her overboard and masculine with weird shit going on, like Vice Admiral Gender Studies and, Rose Tico with her Bolshevik monologue and Canto Bite. Okay, it's just, okay. It's just, to me, I'm, they will freak out. They will freak out. They'll be like, well, you didn't make this canon. And it's like, bitch, it can be canon for you. It's just not the timeline they're doing anymore. Go sit in the corner, beat off to Kyle Ron all you want. Okay, if that's the weird shit you like, have at it. The rest of us are going forward. Now, when they get upset, screaming that it's unfair, you gotta look at them and say, oh yeah, yeah, Mike is right. You can just look at them and say, we remember saying to you, you don't get to have what you like at the expense of us. Okay? That's why this is happening. All right? That's why this is going on. It's because the people who have money, Generation X and older millennials, are not going to spend money on, 3 movies that were garbage. 5 movies. The Rise of Palpatine trilogy, Solo, and Indy 5 and the Dial of Destiny. Okay, it's like, no. And we didn't. Okay. It went from being, and what I love about it is I think it's really poetic. I think George Lucas would admire the kind of the heights of, and then the lowest of the low, where you've got you promise the fans they would get Han, Luke, and Leia together. We would see a movie about them, and instead we got a movie about Ray Nobody, Kyle Ron, Daddy Hater, the token black stormtrooper, and an actually interesting character named Lor Santeca that was killed within the first 3 minutes. Okay. And then, when we do get to see the actual original trilogy heroes, Han ran away, drunk deadbeat dad Han Solo. Leia turned into a dried up hag, and Luke is hiding. After 20 years. Okay, not that a lot can change in 20 years, and a lot can. But still, you're looking at it going, in the galaxy, which is huge, all right, it's basically a mirror of the Milky Way, with Tatooine sort of being in one of the spiral arms on the edge, all right, the outer rim, and the center of the galaxy being Coruscant, Corellia, Alderaan, Naboo, etc. And it's huge, okay? And the reason why we knew it was huge was, as Harrison Ford said in that video clip that Baz grabbed for me, it was a scene in the beginning where you've got the smaller ship, the Tantive 4, flying, and then you see the Star Destroyer coming over your head. And you see Tatooine and then a moon beyond it. That's huge. That is big. And it never, ever got small. It got bigger, okay? That's just the way it is. But instead, in The Force Awakens, Han happens to be in the vicinity of Jakku and picks up the signal from the Falcon. Really? In a huge galaxy like this, wow, that's unbelievable. And then they go to Takodana. It's like Takodana is like what, next door? Like literally as close to, Jakku as Mars is to us. All right. Then they go to Starkiller Base. or they go to where Leia's got her base, and then they go to Starkiller base where it's all in one corner. And then when they're in Takodana, Han walks out and sees Starkiller base firing off whatever the shit that was. Stupid. And you're watching it, and what's interesting is that it sucks the life out of stars and uses the energy to wipe out star systems. Now, I can suspend my disbelief for Sarlacc, for a Bantha, for a Wampa, for a Space Slug, for a Minox. I cannot suspend my disbelief for a base that is a planet. I think it's actually supposed to be, what was that planet that the Jedi used to mine their crystals from? I can't remember. A planet that was the Jedi, where the Jedi, Ilum, which is, wow, what a tiny galaxy. And then Halcyon Prime is right there. So you walk out, broad daylight, you can see all this. Now, granted, when like Betelgeuse finally goes supernova, we'll be able to see it, I think, for quite a little while in the daylight. But I'm not exactly thrilled with, again, with how close everything was in The Force Awakens. They shrunk the galaxy. They ruined Han, Luke, and Leia. And they gave us uninteresting characters. It was an insult. Cross is right. But it was meant to be, as far as I'm concerned. Here's the deal. You know damn well that Larry Kasdan didn't give two shits about what he did with characters. I've got the thing with George Lucas explaining Harrison Ford and Han Solo, and it's very interesting that George is like, I didn't want to do that because that's not what the story's about. And when you get George's viewpoint, and then you get Harrison actually talking about Star Wars and not mugging for the camera, there was an understanding there. And if George had been in control of the sequel trilogy, he probably would have killed off Han Solo, but not in the way he did that it was done. Again, Kyle Olson's right. Force Awakens showed a lack of imagination and no care. It's, written by the same people who say Star Wars can't do anything new. That's because they lack imagination. All right, here's the deal. There were and Kim Bailey's right there. I mean, what was the point of the movie? It also showed that George was right about film executives. At the time, Bob Iger and the other guy didn't care if the movie was good or not. It was Star Wars, and they thought, get my wife's chihuahua's poop out of the backyard, stamp Star Wars in it, and the people will like it. Kyle Olson's right here. And it's true. They didn't care. They made 2 point whatever billion on it. And then when you look at Caroline Reed's, Rick is basically saying the Star Wars movies did not help Disney break even in buying Lucasfilm. They basically made about 1.3 billion. I was right on the number. I was damn right down to the dollar. And I'm not a financial person, I'm not a financial wizard. But if some Dilrod like me can look at that and go, the numbers aren't right. They're not right. You know, and well, J.J. Abrams noted that, and my favorite thing is, as The Rise of Palpatine came out, he was mourning the fact of what he did to Han and Leia. It's like, if he had done the right thing by them, and Kylo Ren butchered his dad, it would have made Reylo a done, gone thing. They would not have been able to do it because people would not have felt sorry for him. Okay? People would have been like, little fucker. Okay? But The Force Awakens gave enough leeway to the mentally ill Reylos and anti-white male bitches and the LGBTQ mob to run with Reylo. Okay, so we get Adam Driver being stalked, his wife being threatened, his kids being threatened, being stalked out to his car at Star Wars Celebration, which is interesting to me. Adam Driver's never been back to Star Wars Celebration. He's never coming back to Star Wars. Okay, he just won't. And, you know, right now, he's the golden boy of the Francis Ford Coppola's in the world with Megalopolis coming out. And it's going to open at Cannes. I don't know what it's going to look like. We've got about 11 days till George gets his honorary Palme d'Or. Yeah, and Kyle's right there too. And what, you know, JJ was allowed. You know, Kim, I don't know what you're saying here. None of that makes any sense to me. But anyway, you know, JJ gave too much of an open door with not giving a hint that Rey was a Skywalker of some flavor and not in her own imagination. And then, you know, Ryan Johnson just ran with it. He just ran with it to the point where it was almost unsavable. It could have been saved, but they asked J.J. Abrams to come in and save it. You bring in somebody like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Ridley Scott, somebody like that to fix what was broken. You know, somebody who all right, let's go back to Kennedy. First off, I think the Willow bombshell is the appetizer. I mean, everything from Star Wars not being able to break even, and it's buying, and it's the Lucasfilm buying price. Indiana Jones being $100 million over budget, and then we get, you know, the Willow thing, all in the same Disney office in London. What's going on here? This is what I think. I think money was taken out for those projects and given for the acolyte. And again, I'm not sure if it could be considered embezzlement, If it is, I would press charges if I was Disney. It is definitely not appropriate use of funds. I mean, it's not like, Kathy was allowing Headland to order prostitutes with the money, but still, you know, she basically made a show they weren't allowed to make. And now Disney's stuck with it. So Jon Favreau's like, don't take the comments off. Don't take the dislikes down. These two bitches need to see what they did. And that's what's going on. Now, what I hope is this, is that Caroline Reed is compelled by curiosity or people getting in touch with her who say, look into why Karen McCarthy was fired. I know some things I can't tell you guys. And it's not mysterious. It's like, and it pretty much proves my point that Headland and Kennedy got a hold of each other through email, and basically Kennedy told her, or on the phone or some way, but somehow Headland was informed that they needed to bring everything in-house, like in the cone of silence, in the cone of trust. And they were still going to make the acolyte, but they didn't get the green light from Disney to do it, so they were going to have to figure out how to do the money. And I'm pretty sure that Chapek told her, absolutely fucking not. We're not doing this. Okay? Stop talking about it. Cancel the project. Okay? And Kennedy was like, I'll show you. Walks back. And, Headland, this is a theory, but I think I'll be proved right. That Headland was informed we need to keep it in-house. Karen McCarthy is not within the cone of silence. You're going to have to get rid of her because if she saw where we were going to start getting the money from, she'd tell. All right. Now, the mistake they made with this, Karen McCarthy's friends with Bob Iger. And it's a mistake that Kennedy's repeated constantly. Bob Iger's also friends with Patty Jenkins. Okay, I know stuff about that. And it's one of those things where you stepped on the foot of somebody that is your boss way too many fucking times. Okay, and now he's pissed. So Headland does what she does. Headland does what she does. McCarthy's out. McCarthy goes to get paid and is told, here's $5,000, go away. No, they owe her like $2 or $3 million because she also wanted to get paid for the money she would have lost or she would have made from producing Sugar. Okay, which is a very strange show. I had to quit watching it. It, is kind of sick, to be honest. It tries very hard to be noir, and there's just some parts about it that I found distasteful. So there you are. Now, if Caroline Reed starts digging into the acolyte, starts looking at it, and starts realizing where'd the money for this thing come from. Because she doesn't have to step on the toes of MSX or anybody else like that. All right. All she has to do is look into the budgets of Indy and/or Willow and go, oh, they were taking money off the top from these to make this. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes, but I'm now convinced that I'm right. That's why they got rid of her. It's because Carol or Kathy decided she was going to do something illegal, all right, or something she was not allowed to do in order to make her stupid fucking woke piece of shit TV show. Okay. And look, this is the reason why she did it. Jon Favreau was usurping her. He was the one everybody fell in love with after Mandalorian, and then went crazy for after Mandalorian season 2. Okay. He was the target. Okay. By getting rid of Gina Carano, Kennedy was hoping Favreau would just quit. And he didn't. All right. She underestimated him. Don't ever underestimate people. That's a good rule of thumb right there. So, what you've got there then is this really weird corn maze of bullshit that Kennedy and Hedlund and their other little cone of silence people put together, and they were able to do it in England under the boss's noses, like, because it was in England, okay? Well, this is my thing. If the Karen McCarthy thing goes to court, this stuff will come out. Okay. If I was Leslie Headland, I'd have a really good lawyer. All right, I'd have a really, really good lawyer because she's gonna need it. Okay. Because Kathy completely ignoring the acolyte threw her under the bus. Did she not? Yeah, she did. Okay. Kathy threw her under the bus. So, well, here's the deal. This is the thing about the Gina. Let's talk about Gina a little bit. So there's been a public back and forth between Gina and Disney's lawyers, and basically that's just public cover while the two sides talk. Again, and I guess it is ruffling the feathers of the black pills that Gina has said she'd come back to Lucasfilm to do Star Wars. But Jon Favreau loves her. The cast loves her. And that's, her saying that she didn't have any hard feelings towards Disney because it's all Kathleen Kennedy, right? It's not, when all this stuff went down with Gina, Kennedy didn't tell the Bobs. She didn't tell Bob Chapek or Bob Iger. Favreau had to find out on a phone call. And he was pissed. Okay. And it's very interesting to me looking at all this and thinking that was the point where Kennedy had crossed the Rubicon, and now she's in trouble. And she had been in trouble. And she put the cherry on top of this shit sundae she created when she walked out at Celebration and tried to upstage John and Dave. Because the only thing that was going to happen at Star Wars Celebration was going to be her goodbye and everything about the Ahsoka. Okay. Instead, we got fake crocodile tears from Leslie Headland talking about how Star Wars saved her. And Daisy Ridley coming out going, I guess there's a movie with me coming out. I don't, Kennedy sprang it on her, I think the week before or that day. I can't. The timeline of that is, I can't quite get it straight in my head because when you hear Daisy talk about it, that she was knocked sideways about a movie announcement, that uh, it was either a few days before Star Wars Celebration or it was that day. Because no one expected her to come out to do that. It was going to be Kennedy's swan song. Okay, bye, see ya. Right. And she got pissed off. Remember that she told Iger, they're going to know I'm leaving. And Iger's guy goes, you are leaving. You are. Okay. And what she got in her face was Star Wars Hotel closes, Willow's canceled and taken off Disney Plus the day Indiana Jones is premiered at Cannes. Then Steven Spielberg publicly cancels her. Now, I am going to say this. Apparently, at least Frank is still partners with Ed Amblin with Spielberg. And Spielberg was behind, backstage at Like Water for Elephants, but I think, Kyle, I think you're missing the point. I think Gina coming back quietly is vindication. I think her first close up on the big screen is vindication right there. Kennedy vanquished. Okay. And look, they're not going to be able to hide the fact she's on set. So they probably will put it out there. In fact, what I think they're going to do, and I agree with Cameron and Corian and a few others, is that we could see a Gina Carano announcement the day the acolyte drops, because that's how I would do it. Okay, that's the way I would do it, and the reason why is no one would be talking about the acolyte. Okay, the acolyte would again be proven not to be something anybody wanted to see anyway. Okay, but we still have shills talking about the Ray movie like it's going to happen. He isn't part of this unless he gave her money for that. But I don't think so. You know, I gotta say this. For as many vacations as they go on, like last year, they were in Europe from July into September. They were gone for 40 days. All right. From what I could tell, what I could see, they have a really weird relationship. They're together a lot. I guess Kathy was backstage at the Jimmy Buffett tribute concert. Harrison Ford was there. If you ever want to blame anybody for Harrison Ford's earring, that thank God he finally let go close, it's Jimmy Buffett. They were hanging out one day, got drunk. Harrison walks into a Claire's and gets his ear pierced because he thought it was cool. Because Jimmy had one. And I'm like, oh, fucking A. What the fuck, man? You know, oh, I would have been so mad at him. Oh, yeah. Well, you gotta let things, the story unfold as it unfolds. Yeah, they go on vacation together, they hang out together, but Steven Spielberg disses her in front of and cancels her, and by relationship, Frank in front of Hollywood at the Indiana Jones premiere in Hollywood. Are you fucking kidding me? It's just, I think it's a business relationship, at least for Frank and Steven. But as far as Kathy, look, he is not, Steven Spielberg will never, I think, forgive Kennedy for what she did. To his, I think, crowning achievement, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. And he won't forgive what she did to George. She lied to George's face. Never intended to protect the characters like she said she would. Okay, and that's the thing I think that people need to take away from this. Okay, it's a very it's like your family where your brother is married to a woman you can't stand, and she does something, and your brother has to understand it because, let's say, like, you're financially connected doing something together, but you diss her publicly. You know, that was just, when I think about it, Spielberg meant to ignore her. Okay. And I'm going to say this. I think he's been part of facilitating her leaving Lucasfilm. Because he's got a history with Lucasfilm. Indiana Jones. Yep, it is. And yet, Frank is still partners with Steven. You know, it's almost like for the public face, they have to be. It's really weird, in my opinion. I mean, it's really kind of strange, but you know, when you've got her not mentioning a Ray movie at all, and basically talking about her past achievements, and then the only thing she says she's looking forward to making is the Mandalorian movie. She doesn't mention Acolyte at all because it's radioactive. And she probably realized what they did was really kind of fucking stupid. But I'm gonna let you guys go with this. Leslie Headland and Kathy Kennedy in a room. The brain power couldn't fire up a 9-volt battery. That would not happen. I mean, you know, but we'll have to see. I mean, we've got 11 days till George gets his Palme d'Or. It's his birthday today. I'll probably put up a little video tribute to him. He's 80 today. So, there. Happy birthday, George Lucas. Okay, so there is no Ray movie. The shills are desperate over something, which makes me think something's happening. We've gotten all kinds of really good scoops about what's going on behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. Sigourney Weaver, there may be more than one, or more than, you know, several different scripts of Mando and Grogu, and more than one with Cara Dune in them. And we've got the Willow bombshell. And then, you know, I discovered that they were all together. These shell companies were basically at least using the Disney address in London as an address to do business. Okay. To make them look legit. You know, again, Barking Lion is legit. And Blue Stockings is not. And them all being in the same, they're basically located kind of in the same place. tells me it was very easy to juggle money. I don't know. Anyway, gotta go. I'm gonna look at what to make for dinner tonight. You guys have a good afternoon. I'll see you around the galaxy.